Warmer ocean currents spread seastar-associated densovirus. Some Pisaster, ochraceus, or purple seastar, why can't we just call it purple seastar, sea life, and others have reduced mortality from this and other causes from in this case, a single mutation in its elongation factor 1 alpha locus. Those of you who are geneticists will understand that. Apparently I don't. You may have noticed during the wintertime you get cold and flu season things going on. It's because low temperatures will preserve certain forms of disease. Other times, high temperatures cause it. Sort of like fermentation processes want certain ranges of temperature. How long have we had the tide pools and dying off? I mean, really, not tide pods, or dead pools, but tide pools. And why is Kevin Blanche and Beautiful Girl by Dana needing this to be only blamed on radiation? Now, please understand the Pacific Ocean has been hit with nuclear bombs because we set off bombs there. Where did we first notice this happening? The east coast of the United States in 1972. Starfish would become limp, the limbs would break loose, and the rest of them would melt into a white mucus-like paste. Viruses and bacteria both can cause that kind of destruction of tissue. It would rot them while they were alive instead of after they were dead. This can be caused by a mutation of something that would normally decay them after they were dead. But it literally liquefied them. 1978, same thing, killed off predatory starfish, I can't pronounce it, in the Gulf of California, and became locally extinct in some parts of the Gulf, California Gulf. Then, in the Channel Islands off the coast of California, 10 species of seastar, 3 species of sea urchin, and 2 species of brittle star, and a species of sea cucumber started dying as well, as it spread across different species and groups of species. This is the equivalent to finding out that some stupid reason, some virus that only ever gave chickens, the flu, turned into avian virus. Avian viruses are a thing. They don't normally transfer between groups and species, especially with viruses, because they're DNA specific. But that isn't always the case. And remember, the ocean is a giant cesspool if you look at it a certain way. And depending on the temperatures, it will harbor or not harbor things. One of the other things that can cause this is competitive species that would kill off the viruses or bacteria that hurt them. For instance, if your skin is not completely clean and you smell bad, you might not get sick from a bacterial infection that would kill another person. It really does depend on what's going on. So the next stage, let's try this. 2013, this is the only time period people begin to talk about the subject, because everyone ignores the 1970s mass die-offs that are in the newspapers. After great increases in seastar numbers from 2010 to 2013, I will repeat that, after a ridiculous increase in seastar species and sea life in tide pools, escalating levels of sea life throughout that period of time. In 2013, on the East Coast, again, seastar wasting syndrome disease devastated 20 species, just like it did from the west coast of Alaska to Mexico. But we have to have it be Fukushima, and it can't happen that there was an increase in seastar numbers on both east and west coast right after Fukushima, because then we can't use it as a wedge and a crowbar to try to blame everything on Fukushima, because we're anti-nuke people who don't give a crap about what actually happens. The west coast, the coastline of my state is not dying. And also, lots of people noted that these tide pools weren't that alive in the 70s. 2016, baby seastar numbers had a massive change from the year before. They went up to 300 times the normal value. Again, warmer ocean currents spread seastar-associated densovirus, and some of them have adapted to it, as you would expect them to do, and have become immune to it. And this will keep happening. And no, purple sea stars don't absorb plutonium more. And why do people invoke that when that was the least likely material to get loose from Fukushima? Because scary words And keywording is important. Now I'm going to point out something really simple. Anti-nuclear activists, I am against nuclear power. Anti-nuke activists come in two varieties. I call them activists. These are the assholes who lie about everything. They base everything on triggering people and feels and emotions, and they try to get you not to think straight. You have to look at something simple. What was the animal die-off rate over many decades before Fukushima? When did you start seeing it happening? 1970s. Isn't that when we started noticing global warming actually having major effects in local areas and El Nino getting out of control too? No, that didn't happen. Anytime the ocean currents change or the air currents change, you get differences like this. Just like in the middle of July, we can get a snowstorm here. You don't think that's going to have an effect on things? You don't think a frost would kill off all the tomatoes in your yard? The ocean has a habit of locking temperature groupings by, well, water pathways and streams. And I like how they always point out, well, there's this jet stream-like thing under the ocean, you know, going on. It's water moving. Yeah, and they notice that it moves a lot. And what moves water more? Heat or nuclear power? It's heat. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And yes, Kevin Blanche, Beautiful Girl by Dana, and everybody who keeps reposting those videos, constantly hammering it so they can keep their page rank. They are lying. I want them to explain 1972, 1978, and that's only two periods. There's dozens more. Most of them since the 70s. I want an explanation out of them how that was caused by Fukushima. And yes, someone's going to come up with something really bizarre, I'm sure. Bye.